All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Week 14. Just like that, in all likelihood, this is the final regular season week for your league. In all likelihood, playoffs start next week. There may be some situations where there's leagues that maybe 4 teams make the playoffs, so their playoffs don't start until week 16. But for the most part, most leagues, this is it. This is a wrap. The regular season ends. The fantasy regular season ends after this week, and playoffs begin the next. So some of you may have a playoff spot already locked up. Maybe you have a bye week locked up. If that's the case, congratulations and early congratulations. Kick back. Maybe crack a cold one and enjoy whatever happens tomorrow and just root for good health and good fortune. But that's not everybody. A lot of people are still jockeying for playoff position. Maybe bye weeks are still in play. Maybe you just need to clinch a playoff spot in general, just to begin with. Whatever your scenario is, here to help figure out your lineups, sort out any start-sit suggestions that I have for you. With the playoffs likely on the line. So, as always, going to go through the latest injury updates that we have as of today. We have full injury updates through the Sunday slate. I guess it's possible that there are still some injury updates that trickle in for the Monday night game today that we don't yet know. But we have the full report, like on injuries, practice. A lot of players, their status is now known. Some guys are still questionable. We'll get into all of them. But with the most information available to us now, we can help sort out the starting lineup, your starting lineups. Questionable statuses for Week 14. Kenneth Walker, that's sounding pessimistic. Bucky Irving, the last I saw, that is optimistic. Malik Neighbors, I don't know where that currently stands. DJ Moore is optimistic. DeAndre Swift is very up in the air. The Bears just elevated, I think, Darrington Evans from the practice squad. Generally, a practice squad elevation is not a good sign for somebody on the injury report. So we'll keep tabs on DeAndre Swift, but I would be very prepared if you have DeAndre Swift to pivot off of him. If he's in, you have to play him. If he's not, you'll be ready. That sounds like a true question mark. George Pickens, we will see. Jacoby Myers, we will see. And Breece Hall has been ruled out. And now he's okay. Kenneth, and all right, as of now, this was a little while ago. Kenneth Walker officially downgraded to out. So Charbonnet is certainly in play for anybody who has him. So there you go. Okay. We'll get into Charbonnet questions. Seattle gets Arizona. Depending on who your other options are, if you have guys that are regularly in your starting lineup, generally, I would play those players over Charbonnet. I would say he's maybe more on the flex radar than the RB2 radar, but with volume, he certainly could come through. I wouldn't take any typical regulars out of your starting lineup for him, but anybody who is on the flex, like is regularly in the flex conversation for your team, Charbonnet has leapfrogged those types of players. So we can get into specifics as far as what your specific situation might be. Let's see. Lad McConkey's also questionable. We'll see about him. He did practice on a limited basis this week. Dallas Goedert placed on injured reserve, so he's going to his fantasy regular season is done. He can be dropped in redraft leagues. Grant Calcaterra will be on the streaming roadmap from here on out. He will be a touchdown dependent tight end too, and it'll be hard to confidently suggest him over guys that you would normally plan to play, even when Dallas Goedert is healthy. But touchdown dependent option in a good offense, you never know. CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, both off the injury report for Monday, so they will both play against the Cincinnati Bengals. You have to play CeeDee. You if Ferguson was the guy that you were leaning on to begin the season, then you probably just go back to him. But he's not a must start. Not in the current state that the Cowboys offense is in. I think that is the most recent stuff that we have from today. Most of the updates were from yesterday. Raheem Mostert is also questionable. That's not fantasy relevant at this point. DK Metcalf off the injury report. He's good to go. Zamir White is out for the Raiders. Alexander Madison is questionable. I am intrigued by Sincere McCormick as a stash. I am by no means suggesting starting him. But I am curious to see how this backfield shakes out. That being said, do not plan to play a Raiders running back. No idea how that one's going to shake out. Especially if Madison is active, that'll be probably a gross 3-headed monster. No, thank you. Yeah, I think that's the latest that we have as far as injury updates. I'll continue to monitor the ticker if there's any new information that comes down over the course of the stream. But we can go ahead and get into questions with the latest injury updates. All right, that's complete. All right, cool. We'll get into questions. As always, members will get priority responses to questions and any comments. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. If you are feeling generous enough to send a super or a gift, I believe those details show up somewhere on the live stream. Those would also be line jumpers and getting priority responses. And then I will get to everybody else. So I only ask for some patience as I work through the questions. If you are a member or not, regardless, if you're enjoying the stream, the conversation, the dialogue, all that good stuff, I only ask that you like the stream. That helps me out for algorithm purposes. Appreciate it in advance. Let's see. I see Fortune. I see Crumbly Heads. What's going on, guys? And thank you, Fortune, for the assist with I saw Walker questionable. I missed the one from about an hour ago that Walker was ruled out. So appreciate the help there. Let's get into it. Metcalf or Jennings? Yeah, he's off the injury report now, but he is banged up or has been. I don't necessarily care about like his past performances against an opponent. I've worried about this stuff in the past, and ultimately for it to not matter in the game, like in one way or another. So I'm not too worried about that, especially in a potential, I don't know if you're in a win or go home situation, or, if this is like, I have to get this correct, or this is my playoff potential at stake here. When that's the case, I tend to lean on, I just want to play my better players, play my best players. And for me, that's Metcalf. Jawan Jennings has been awesome, especially since Brandon Ayuk went down for the 49ers. But there's so many red flags about the 49ers offense right now. Trent Williams remains out. Brock Purdy is off the injury report, but like, is he dealing with some consistent shoulder pain right now? That seems to be a consistent concern. McCaffrey's out. Mason is out. Debo is battling through a million injuries that has left him a wide receiver 4 this year. They're kind of a mess right now. Jawan Jennings, through no fault of his own, is difficult to trust given the circumstances. I would plan to play Metcalf. I'm not worried about past performances. He's off the injury report. And for all of the warts that Seattle's offense has, I think I trust them a little bit more than I trust San Francisco right now. They're just a little healthier. I would plan to play Metcalf. That's where I would go. It's close, but give me the better player. And then Charbonnet or Warren to replace Walker. Yeah, so this is like this is what I'm talking about as far as like Warren is on that flex radar. So therefore Charbonnet, I guess, leapfrogs him by default. I like Warren tomorrow. He's showed out recently. Now that he's healthy, he's been good. I think I guess in this situation, I'll go Charbonnet just because of the volume that he's expected to get. Charbonnet for the volume. I'm not bullish about it, but Charbonnet is like the best flex option now officially for this week because of volume. That is like the most, I guess that is my biggest vote of confidence for Zach Charbonnet. He is probably outside of like, if your situation, if your team is loaded with studs, outside of that situation, if all things equal, Charbonnet, in balanced leagues, Charbonnet is probably like the top flex option for the week. So therefore, you just go with him for volume. So, yep, I'll take Charbonnet. He'll be the guy. I got a super from T-Man. Appreciate that, T-Man. Thank you so much. So we're going to jump down and take this question. Again, for anybody just popping in, first of all, welcome. But second of all, the structure of these streams remains the same as I've run it all season long. Members and supers will get priority responses to questions, and then I will get to everybody else. So I see your question. I will answer a bit out of order, but I have your questions, and I promise I will get to them. Appreciate the patience. Pick two between Braylon Allen, Rico Dowdle, Jawan Jennings, Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith. Probably the first two names. Allen with Brees out figures to see, significant work here. And it's a very beatable matchup against Miami. The Dolphins are tough against opposing passing games, but they can be had on the ground. So I like Braylon. I like Rico Dowdle. Cincinnati is just atrocious on defense, and the Cowboys are, they're starting to really actually leaning into giving Dowdle the most work out of necessity, which is what they should have been doing all season. Instead of utilizing Zeke as much as they did. I know it wasn't like a ton, but it was more than it should have been. So, they're finally unlocking Rico. It's a great matchup. Cincinnati is so beatable no matter where you look, at least on defense. Jennings, again, red flags with the San Francisco offense. It's not Jennings. Jennings is a good player, but, Purdy's dealing with shoulder soreness. Trent Williams is out. The backfield is out. McCaffrey and Jordan Mason, both in all likelihood done for 2024, unless San Francisco can go on what would at this point be an unexpected run in a playoff push. Adams, Adams, I think, put up some solid numbers last week. I just don't like him more, maybe in full PPR. But even then, I think I would rather play Rico and Braylon Allen. Aaron Rodgers just isn't playing well. He had a nice day last week, Adams did. Adams is still a baller. He had 12 targets. He had 5 catches. I mean, that's the issue. He has to do extra work because Rodgers is not throwing accurate footballs right now. He's a solid wide receiver too, but I don't know that there's a ceiling there. And it's not a good matchup by the numbers against Miami. And then Devontae Smith, I like Devontae. I'm excited for the Eagles offense that he's back, but it's his first game back from a 2-game absence, and they're playing Carolina. Carolina is playing better recently. Bryce Young looks the part. Like, Bryce Young looks good, and they're scoring some points on offense now. But this is still a mismatch on paper. The Eagles, I guess they could have a letdown, but they should win this game at home. And therefore, I don't know how much volume is going to be there to go around for guys not named A.J. Brown. So between the concerns about game flow and his coming back from a 2-game absence, I think I'm out on Devontae, given your other options. I will say Braylon Allen and Rico Dowdle. Give me the running backs who should see a lot of work. Appreciate the super team, man. Thank you so much. Let me know if you need anything else. What's going on, Greg? Jordan Love did not have a good enough game on Thursday night. Sorry about that. I don't think anybody was predicting Josh Jacobs to get 3 rushing scores. Jacobs is having a great season, but generally speaking, one of those 3 touchdowns goes another way, and it oftentimes comes in the form of the quarterback making it happen. It just, things heavily skewed toward Jacobs this past week, as it so turns out. On the road in a bad matchup, no less. What are you going to do? It is what it is. But, he didn't totally sink you. It obviously wasn't a great performance, but, we'll see how things shake out. Rico easily for me over Deebo. Deebo Samuel is a wide receiver 4. This is a forgotten lost season for Deebo at this point, and I'm no longer trusting him on a week-to-week basis. He could have a good game this week, and I probably will have I'm going to have a difficult time advocating for him first week of the playoffs, even if he has a good week this week. I don't trust Deebo. So I'm going Rico. Definitely over Deebo. Over Leggett. Yeah. Give me the Cowboys starting running back who's finally getting more volume. They're running the ball more because, what are they going to do? Have Cooper Rush throw the ball 45 times a game? They're utilizing Rico more, and I think that's going to be the case for the rest of the season. In a great matchup against Cincinnati, I'll take Rico for sure. And yes, Keenan Allen over Deebo. Anybody that has been solid at least once the past couple of weeks for me is over Deebo. Anybody who has had one decent game over the past 2 or 3 weeks at least, I'm playing whoever that might be over Deebo. I have no confidence in him. So he'll probably get 15 points. I would play Keenan Allen. I like Elijah Moore, but with DJ Moore, less than 100%. I think I like Keenan a little bit more than Elijah Moore. Not over any of those other guys. MVS is a big time dart throw, but I'll always try to take the volume first. So yeah, give me Keenan Allen over all of those guys, and I would rock with Hawkinson over Ferguson. Yes. I don't trust the Cowboys offense right now. And I know Hawkinson didn't have a great day last week, but I trust the Vikings offense more than I trust the Cowboys, even though the matchup is great. But I'll take Hawkinson. I just trust the Vikings offense more than the Cowboys right now. All right. That is all member questions that I see so far. And thank you to T-Man again for the super. Appreciate that. Those will get you priority responses if you are feeling so inclined, but you don't have to. So with that said, I will now get to the folks patiently waiting from the top of the chat. Pick 1.5 PPR, Braylon Allen, Isaac Garendo, or Zach Charbonnet. Okay, so this is the hodgepodge of high-end flex options for this week. In half PPR, I want to like Garendo, but it's so difficult to trust the 49ers offense right now that I think he would be great. Garendo would be the answer if you didn't have like these other two guys. Um, I think I take Braylon Allen. It's a good matchup. Um, good matchup against Miami. Miami's a favorable matchup against opposing running backs. From a fantasy perspective, the Bears have allowed more rushing yards per game recently than the Dolphins. Again, the problem for me with Garendo is the 49ers offense as a whole is difficult to trust. So I'll take Braylon Allen. The Jets offense is not easy to trust either, but I guess they're a little healthier than the 49ers. They're not better, but they're healthier. So I'll take Braylon Allen. I'll take Allen. And Greg, I don't know about start and set. We'll worry about him on a week to week basis. For now, though, we start him for week 14. And then half PPR, Debo, Mooney, Brandon Cooks. I'll take Mooney here. It's a good matchup against the Vikings secondary. I don't trust Debo. Brandon Cooks is interesting. It's a great matchup, and he did well last week. I just don't know if I trust a volatile older wide receiver too at this point on a bad offense. I'll take Mooney. It's a revenge game for Kirk Cousins. You figure the Falcons offense, maybe they come into this game a little bit more focused after a abysmal showing last week. And the Vikings can be had through the air. So I'll take Mooney of this group. Need 3 running backs. Saquon and Bijan are obvious. And then I guess Charbonnet. I like Garendo, and if you're thinking that you want to play Garendo because he's the starter for the 49ers, that's fine. Shoot your shot always. And I mean that sincerely. Like, if there's a guy that you believe in and you want to play him, and I don't tell you to play him. If you want to play him, then play him. If Garendo's the guy that you want to play him. But I'm having a hard time advocating for him over guys like Braylon Allen and Zach Charbonnet when the 49ers offense is in the state that it's in. So I'll say Charbonnet as your RB3. And with Walker out, he figures to get a solid amount of work. Yes, Greg. Rico's safer than all of those guys. Play Rico. He is set and forget. Rico Dowdle is start and set. That's the guy who just stays in your lineup. Let's see. Need upside this week. Okay. Herbert or Tua. Herbert gets the Chiefs on the road, potentially with a less than 100% Lad McConkey. Tua gets the Jets, who Sauce Gardner, I believe, has been ruled out already. Or likely to sit. They put CJ Mosley, unfortunately, on injured reserve. Yeah, this Jets defense is in a bad place right now. I think I take Tua. I think I take Tua. I know his depth of target depth of target has gone down. He's not chucking it deep like he has the past couple of seasons. It's a lot of check downs, get the ball out quick. But he's back to completing passes at a high clip. He does still have elite weapons, and it's a better looking matchup. With the Jets' injuries on defense, I'll take Tua. And then between Ladd, Judy, Ridley, DK, I want to play Ladd in full PPR. He's still on the injury report going into Sunday Night Football, so it's hard to trust him because of that. We think he's going to play. He practiced on a limited fashion, I believe, all week, so he should be fine. But it does make for a bit of a dicey situation if we wait on him going into Sunday Night Football and he ultimately ends up being not available. So I would definitely play Judy. I think I would definitely play Ridley against Jacksonville. Great matchup and a revenge game. He played for them last year. So I would definitely play Judy and I would definitely play Ridley. I think I would wait as close to kickoff for the Seahawks game as I can to see if I get any updates on McConkey's status. If McConkey is ruled active before the Seahawks kick off, I probably move to Ladd. I play Ladd on Sunday night because it's PPR. If we don't know for certain, though, or if we get any updates that Ladd might miss the game, then plan to play Metcalf. So I would play Tua. I would play Judy. I would play Ridley. I would play Ladd if we have positive reports or updates before Sunday Night Football. And if we don't have anything to work with and it's possible he misses the game, then I would play Metcalf, who plays in the earlier window. One wide receiver, one flex in full PPR. Dowdle, Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas. Dowdle is your flex. Again, we're rocking with Rico Dowdle. I think he's starting set at this point. The Cowboys are giving him the football. The offense is not what it once was. They can't air it out like they conceivably could with Dak. The way they can't with Cooper Rush. I mean, 60% of the snaps, 70% of the snaps the past 2 weeks for Rico. They have started to turn to him. He got 25 opportunities last week. Cincinnati's defense is bad. Rico is an RB2 this week that I want in my lineup. So Rico's your flex. Between Ridley, Myers, and Brian Thomas, I probably go Ridley. Jacoby Myers has been awesome, but he's been on the injury report the past this week. Missed practice, I think, on Thursday, and that was with a new injury that one he didn't suffer on Wednesday. He suffered on Thursday, so that's a little bit of a cause for concern. It's a good matchup. If he plays, he should be fine, but I'll take Ridley, who I know, like, not on the injury report, gonna play. Revenge game against Jacksonville, good matchup as it is. I'll take Ridley. Dowdle and Ridley. That's where I would go. And then Otten or Hawkinson. Otten has fallen off since Mike Evans came back, but this is a really good matchup against Vegas. Hawkinson gets the Falcons. Not as good of a matchup. Hawkinson had a good week a couple weeks ago, had a down week last week. Otten has had 2 down weeks in a row. Just want to look at the matchups for both. Atlanta is middle of the pack against tight ends. Vegas, Otten's opponent, is one of the worst teams in the league against tight ends. I think my answer is Otten. I will go back to the well with him, especially since Mike Evans is off the injury report, but he is still, they are monitoring him coming back from this hamstring injury. So, I'll continue to I'll go back to the well with Otten one more time because the matchup is excellent. But if he falters again this week, then we need to make other plans for the fantasy playoffs. I'll take Otten. And then I'm going to play the Steelers because they're way better than the Saints. And they play Jameis Winston, who just threw 2 pick sixes last Monday night. I'll play Pittsburgh. I do not trust the New Orleans Saints just because they're playing the New York Giants. The Saints don't have a good defense. Yes, the Giants are abysmal, and they are an offense that you want to target, but not when the opposing defense isn't good to begin with. And New Orleans defense isn't good to begin with. So give me the Steelers, who are good, who are actually good, in a matchup that is very beatable against Jameis Winston. Flex Cooper or Keenan Allen? Is this Amari Cooper? I mean, my answer is Keenan Allen. We haven't seen enough from Cooper since he basically got traded to Buffalo. He's too difficult to trust right now. So I'll take Keenan Allen coming off of a multi-score game. We can't expect him to do that again, but DJ Moore is coming into this game less than 100% on the injury report as questionable. I'll go Keenan Allen over somebody like Amari Cooper. And I have my spot in line, so don't worry. I see your questions. I promise I will get to them. But Jose just sent me a super. Thank you so much, Jose. Appreciate that. 2 wide receivers, Puka, CD, Evans, AJ. Oh, holy shit, man. You have a bunch of wide receiver ones. I guess like Puka and I don't know if I want to say Mike Evans in his second game back, but it is the Raiders, and it's a beautiful matchup. I mean, it's also insane to go off of CD. Dude, this is a difficult situation to sort out because it's 4 wide receiver ones that you would rank all 4 of these guys as wide receiver ones any given week. So I guess I'll go with the guys that I trust. I trust their situation the most. Puka plays the Bills in LA and has been awesome the past few weeks since he came back. Wide receiver 12, wide receiver 6, wide receiver 12, wide receiver 20 the past 4 games for Puka. So he's been a wide receiver 1 3 of the past 4 games and a wide receiver 2 the fourth game. CD has 2 wide receiver 2 performances recently and 2 wide receiver 5 performances recently. Evans has been hurt, but came back last week and did his thing, absolutely balled out. 8 for 118. The answer is Evans and Puka, Jose. And you kind of, if you don't like AJ for this game, that's fair. Again, we're worried about potential volume here for the Eagles passing game in a game where they should win this game. So if you yourself don't like a player for the game and you have other studs that you can replace him with, then don't play that player. So that rules AJ out. And I can't believe this is where we're at, but this is where we're at in week 14 of 2024. I'm benching CeeDee Lamb. This offense is a shell of itself right now. His best performance the past month is the wide receiver 18, and he's bottomed out at outside the top 50 on the week for wide receiver scoring 2 out of the past 4 weeks. I'll take Puka and I'll take Evans. Those guys are playing well right now. They have their quarterbacks, and we're not afraid of their scenarios, their situations. Yeah, that's where we go. We go Puka, we go Evans. We can't when you have other studs like this. When you have 4 wide receiver ones, you can take out the guy who is in the worst situation. And right now, the guy in the worst situation of this group by far is CD. So yeah, I mean, you can probably just leave him on your bench rest of season. As long as these dudes are playing. These other dudes are playing. Yeah. Puka and Evans. Appreciate the super, Jose. Thank you so much. Let me know if you need anything else. I am now going to go back up to my spot in line. Dowdle or Charbonnet? I'm going Dowdle. Dowdle is the starter. Dowdle is the Cowboys starter just in general, and is getting starters work the past couple of weeks. I have no reason to believe that the Cowboys will go away from that given the current state of their offense. Charbonnet is his team's starter this week out of necessity. And while he will or should get a similar workload to Dowdle, I'm naturally going to go with the guy who is his team's starter by default, and because of performance. And for me, that's Rico. Give me Rico. He's an RB2. Charbonnet is a really good flex, an elite flex. Charbonnet is an elite flex option. Dowdle's an RB2. I'm playing Dowdle. Let's see. 3 wide receivers: Pickens, Moore, Addison, Jennings, Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy. We're playing. Judy's been a wide receiver 1 recently. And I know it's not a great matchup against Pittsburgh, but Jameis has elevated that passing attack, interceptions and all. We're getting volume. We're getting the ball thrown down the field. Like, we're getting chunk plays. We're getting go routes regularly, big plays. Jerry Jeudy's a wide receiver 1, just given the situation. So we're putting him in there. If George Pickens plays, he has to be in. You have to play him. And then Addison against the Falcons. And I want to play DJ Moore if he plays. If DJ Moore is active, then I would play DJ Moore. If he's inactive, then you could play Jawan Jennings. That's where I would go. You play Jerry Jeudy, you play George Pickens. If Pickens is out, then you can, I guess you could pivot to Addison if there's also concerns about Moore's status. I would play Jeudy. I would play Pickens if he's active, and I would play Moore if he's active. If Moore is out, then you can put Jawan Jennings in because they play each other in the same game. That's where I would go. Let's see. PPR, happy Saturday. Start 1 in full PPR. Mooney, Njoku, Pacheco, Braylon Allen. Obviously Mooney gets the boost in full PPR. And I do like his matchup this week. Allen has the backfield to himself, with Breece out for this game. So I'm always going to lean a running back where we can kind of project bell cow upside. Pacheco gets the Chargers in his second game back from injury. Not a great matchup. Kareem Hunt continued to mix in, and I wouldn't be surprised if that continues for the Chiefs. I do not expect Pacheco to get a bell cow workload until maybe the playoffs. They're going to be cautious with him in his return, especially, what are they, 11-1? Like, they've already clinched a playoff spot. They are not going to give Pacheco bell cow work probably until the playoffs. I would expect Kareem Hunt to continue to mix in. So my answer here is Braylon Allen. Njoku I like, but assuming you're starting another tight end in the tight end spot, I just don't want to play 2 tight ends. I'm not sure who you're starting at tight end. And while Njoku is intriguing, I'd rather play a running back over a tight end, especially when we can, again, project bell cow upside. And Braylon Allen has bell cow upside this week. I'm playing Braylon Allen. That's where I'm going. Let's see. T-Man, I think I got this question from the Super, but again, Rico and Braylon Allen. You added a couple of names in there. But yeah, Rico, Braylon Allen, answer remains the same. Appreciate the Super again. How do I rank Jeudy, Devontae, Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison, Tracy? Okay, this is a lot. In PPR, for just this week? Is this just for this week? I would put Jeudy first. I would probably put, I guess, like Tracy and Charbonnet second and third, and then Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison. No, I'll put Charbonnet over Marvin Harrison. Then Marvin Harrison. Then I'll put Brian Thomas last. I love Brian Thomas, but Mac Jones makes everything worse when it comes to getting excited about an offense. So Brian Thomas is last for this week. He's high. He's first, or he's second on this list for just dynasty overall. Still put Marv first, even though he needs to show us something. Yeah, but for this week, Judy, Tracy, Charbonnet, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison, Brian Thomas. Let's see. I got the super from T-Man already. I got Greg's questions. Appreciate the members. Appreciate the supers. Thank you guys for the support. Let's see. Would I rather roster Noah Gray or Patrick Taylor? Depends on what you need. Depends on what are you in greater need of? Who's your starting tight end? If it's Dalton Kincaid or Kyle Pitts or somebody who's been disappointing and underwhelming, then Noah Gray. If you just lost McCaffrey or you got Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor on bye and you need running back help, then Patrick Taylor. Depends on what your team needs, Like what are you less confident in? Are you less confident in your tight end? Then pick up Noah Gray. Are you feeling shaky about your running back depth? Then pick up Patrick Taylor. Depends on what you need. In a vacuum, probably Gray, but that doesn't mean that is the best option for your specific situation. Start 3 in full PPR. James Cook, Tyrone Tracy, Rico Dowdle, Isaac Guerendo. I'll take. I mean, you have to play James Cook. James Cook is a top. I think he's like a top 20 option any given week. I guess in full PPR, I don't feel too much worse about him. Dowdle, Guerendo. I mean, again, I think Dowdle just has to be in lineups. Dowdle, Guerendo, Tracy, who maybe starts, maybe doesn't. Great matchup against the Saints. Horrendous offense that he plays for with the Giants. New Orleans is really bad against the run. Like they're really bad against the run. Chicago is not much. Actually, Chicago isn't much better. You have to play James Cook. I will say you have to play Rico Dowdle. And again, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna walk out of this live stream having people think that I'm anti Isaac Guerendo. I'm not. I think Guerendo is very intriguing tomorrow and has looked really good when given an opportunity. What I'm curious to see is how he does in a bell cow role, with just like a banged up offense. Trent Williams is not going to play this game. Brock Purdy's banged up. There's some red flags on this 49ers offense. I like Guerendo a lot. He has looked good in the opportunities that he has received this year. It's just, how good is he gonna look when the defense is planning and preparing for him as the number one option with a lesser overall collection of talent around him than San Francisco had to start the season? So I guess my answer is Cook, Tracy, Dowdle. And it's close between Guerendo and Tracy. It is. Guerendo's going to be his figures to get most of the work, whereas Tracy might continue to, Devin Singletary might continue to start the game for the Giants. And I don't know how much that impacts Tracy, but still, we saw him perform last week in spite of that. I'll say the first 3 names: Cook, Tracy, Dowdle. I like Guerendo. It's just the 49ers offense makes me nervous. Brandon Cooks or Will Dissly. Man, we're getting after it on this one. I like it. I don't know who you're starting at tight end. I just don't like starting 2 tight ends unless I absolutely have to. Cooks and Disley are probably in this like a very similar tier. Cooks is on the flex radar. But like we're talking about such low volume for Cooks as well. I know he missed a ton of time this year. He's only played in 5 games. He's only cleared 20 yards receiving once this year, and that was back in week 1. He's been under 20 yards receiving in the other 4 games that he's played. I know last week was his first game back. Still, I think this is a rare scenario where I say go with the second tight end, go Disley. Because the matchup is great against the Chiefs, and at least Disley is a little bit more. I know he didn't do anything last week, but he's a little bit more week to week consistently involved than just getting 2 or 3 catches for 20 yards. And right now, that's like what Brandon Cooks has brought to the table so far this year. Give me Disley. Give me Disley. And Jose, this was another question that you had. Pick 2. Is this pick? It says pick 2, 1 flex. Is this 2 running backs and 1 flex? Is that what you meant? I would say the regular starters, Connor and Dowdle, and I like Braylon Allen, I think, more than I like Zach Charbonnet. Connor and Dowdle have to be in. They have to be in. And then I'll take Allen. I meant to keep tabs on this SEC championship game that's going on right now, but oh wow, it's a barn burner. It is 6-3 at halftime. Those defenses are showing up. Oh, Bobby, I'm sorry. I missed your question. My apologies. I was just running through the list as a member. I should have caught this earlier. My apologies. Let's get to what you got. You played your Packers against the Lions. Yeah, that did not. Jacobs and Watson did well. Love didn't do great. Reed, I don't understand how that happened. I don't understand how Jaden Reed ended up with 1 target and 0 catches. Like, he passes the eye test so well. Like, you look at Jaden Reed and it's just like, he's their most dynamic playmaker. How did he literally end up not making any plays? That's frustrating. We're going to go right back to the well with him next week because we know what he's capable of. It's just, that's just the luck of the draw sometimes. It just, a game goes a certain way and it just doesn't materialize for a certain player. It's annoying. It's frustrating. But it happens. It happens. I think he'll be fine moving forward. He'll be fine moving forward. Between Jennings, Ridley, Garrett, Wilson. I mean, Garrett Wilson is the best player here. It's not a great matchup against Miami. Let's see. Garrett Wilson the past couple of weeks. All I know is that Aaron Rodgers continues to miss his wide. He had 10 targets, which is great. He turned it to 5 for 41, which is not great. He has been under double-digit fantasy scoring 3 straight games, Garrett Wilson has, after he finally went on a tear from weeks 5 to 9 where it was like, okay, he's that dude. Like, we were reminded, yes, we know he's that guy. And then recently he's been bad. And it's a lot has to do with Aaron Rodgers is not throwing accurate passes. Davante Adams dealt with it last week as well. He had 12 targets, also caught only five passes. Now, he caught 1 for a touchdown, so that made him a wide receiver 2 for the week. Wilson did not get in the end zone, and he's probably outside the top 50 wide receivers on the week in scoring. So we need him to score to come through because it's hard to trust Aaron Rodgers to consistently throw accurate footballs these days. Ridley is in a great matchup against Jacksonville, and it's a revenge game for him. He also deals with inaccurate, erratic, inconsistent quarterback play from Will Levis. And then Jennings again. I like Jawan Jennings, but he's in a bad situation with the state of the 49ers offense, where he's sitting. Brock Purdy's banged up. Trent Williams is out. Deebo Samuel looks like a shell of himself right now. Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, both on injured reserve. Like, this is rough sledding for the 49ers, and I just worry that everybody else is going to be like, it's going to trickle down in a negative way week to week. Maybe not every single player, but it's going to be difficult to consistently trust them. I guess if you need some upside because of Reed's 0, I would play Ridley. He's in the best matchup by the numbers of these guys going against Jacksonville, and it's a revenge game for him. He played for Jacksonville last year. Things didn't go great for him. I imagine he wants to get back at his former team. I assume you might need, again, a little bit of upside because Jaden Reed goose-egged. So I think the upside play here is Ridley. Garrett Wilson is the best player of this group, but he's in a rut right now. He's in a funk. He's in a slump. We got all these words. They're all the same. I'm just using different words to say the same thing. Garrett Wilson hasn't been good the past 3 weeks. So I'll take Ridley. I'll take Ridley. And I see a couple more questions down at the bottom, so I have to get those. But where am I at? Juan, Jeff, Derek, sit tight. I see your questions. I will get to you, but I got to get to my members and supers. I see Don sent a super as well. Appreciate that, Don. I got to get to those first, but then I will get to everybody else's questions. So appreciate your patience. Yeah, I mean, it's a good appreciate it, Bobby, that you joined as a member. Appreciate you popping in throughout the year. Hopefully we've had a successful season so far. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looks good. I mean, this is a team that can compete and win in the playoffs. Running backs are stout with Bijan and Jacobs. Wide receivers are strong. They're good enough with McLaurin, Flowers. These guys it's good to have this collection of variants and options available to you each week. This is a good team. You should make the playoffs and compete for the championship if you haven't already clinched, Bobby. So appreciate you joining on this year. And let's bring home a chip. It's a good squad. That is a squad that should compete in the playoffs. Don, appreciate the super. Thank you so much. Westbrook Akine or Elijah Moore in half PPR. Elijah Moore is your floor, your safe play. If you think you can play it safe, if you think 10 points is going to be good enough, then Elijah Moore. If you need to swing for the fences, if you need to be aggressive, if you feel like you're an underdog, if you had Jaden Reed and he goose-egged for you on Thursday night, you need upside, you need to swing for the fences, that's Westbrook Akine. He's not going to catch a touchdown every single game of his career. Like, eventually the streak is going to wear off. That's not to say that it's going to happen tomorrow. But he is volatile. He's making big plays, which is awesome. You're always excited for a player to especially who's been off for the most part, not like the biggest consistent producer. You love seeing them have a good stretch, but I mean, he's catching 2, 3 per game, 2 catches a game, 3 catches a game. It's just the variance is it's going to be up and down for Westbrook Akine, and it's hard to continue to bet on. I mean, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 8 touchdowns in his past 7 games. Only 1 game since week 6 he hasn't caught a touchdown. He caught 2 last week. I know he's on the tear of tears right now, but he's doing it on 2 catches, 3 catches, and I know what he that's what he is. You're hoping for one play. You're hoping for a 40-yard bomb for a score. So if that's what you need, if you need to play aggressive, then Westbrook-Akine. If you can play it safe, then I would say Elijah Moore. And then full PPR between Gus and Kimani Vidal. I feel your pain. That's difficult because the matchup isn't very good. And these guys are like a little uninspiring. I think you have to go. I think you have to go Gus Edwards. I know, like, Vidal might be the pass catcher and he'll get in on third downs and all that good stuff. And that makes him viable and intriguing because we think the Chargers will be playing from behind against Kansas City. But he still only got in there for like a quarter of the snaps last week, Vidal did. Like, at least Gus got 50% of the snaps. I don't know if that's going to be the same exact ratio in this type of game. But Edwards is going to be the favorite to lead the backfield. And when the options are gross like this, I'm always going to be inclined to go with the starter. So I'll go Gus. I know it feels gross. It's difficult to feel confident about that, but he is the starter. He's on the field. He's been on the field based on what we've seen. It's a limited sample size, but he's been on the field more than Vidal. I'll take Gus. Appreciate the super Mac, Don. I almost said Mac. Don Mac. Thank you so much. Let me know if you need anything else, but I would go more floor, Westbrook-Akine, up high ceiling, low floor, and I'll take Gus over Vidal. Bobby, you're okay. Let's get this win. Let's get this win. I think you're in good shape to do that. You're in good shape to get the dub. So let's make it happen. Let's bring it home. Let's bring home a playoff spot. All right, back up to where I left off. Let's see. Your wide receiver 2, your RB2, and your flex. Walker is out, so I would play Charbonnet as your RB2 because that is I think that's your only other option because you also, Breece is also out. He's out for the game. So Charbonnet as your RB2, and it's a good thing that you have that handcuff because you can pivot right to Charbonnet. Your wide receiver 2, Myers, if he plays. Your flex is, it depends on what you need. If you think you can play it safe, I guess my question for myself is, I feel like guys like Jawan Jennings and Darnell Mooney are players that I go back and forth on. I think I like Mooney's situation more than Jennings' situation tomorrow. Because while Kirk Cousins was terrible last week, we don't expect like a 4-interception game every week. I think he'll be better. And it's a revenge game. He spent the last 4 seasons of his career in Minnesota. I mean, Kirk Cousins, friendly, nice guy Kirk Cousins, is going to come in and he's going to want to come in and have a good performance and do well against his old team. So I trust him to throw the football a little bit better this week than he did last week. And I think for me, that makes Mooney my like rock solid, safe floor play and the guy that I probably go with as my flex. If you need to be aggressive and you're an underdog and need upside, then it's Westbrook-Akine. But otherwise, I would plan to go Mooney as your flex. So give me Myers if he plays as your wide receiver 2. Mooney as your flex and Charbonnet as your RB2. And if Myers is out, then I'll go Mooney and then I guess I would put in Jennings in that situation if Myers is out. So, yeah. Little bit of a moving parts here with potential guys still not confirmed active with guys like Myers on the injury report. But just be fluid, be prepared to be quick on your feet with any updates that we get. If Myers is ultimately ruled out, then we want to play Jennings. And they play in the late window, so you'll know. You'll have a backup option available. Yep. Mooney in the flex, Charbonnet at RB2, Myers at wide receiver 2, Jennings if Myers is out. Yep. And then, no, you do not need. I mean, I like Tucker Kraft. He should be on a roster, but if you have George Kittle, that's the one piece of the 49ers offense that I feel like it's like I have to play George Kittle, and I'm going to still fire him up as a top 5 tight end. You don't need a tight end 2 when you have George Kittle. Yeah, you don't. Kittle remains a top 5 or 6 tight end each week. We're going to continue to fire him up unless we're given a reason not to. You don't need a backup tight end in Tucker Kraft because you have one of the best options in the game. Appreciate the kind words, Don. I do try to. I know that I can get long-winded, and I know that I can take a little extra time, and that requires some patience from you all. But I figure you're going to want to. People might want to hear an explanation instead of a one-word answer. So, that's what you're coming here for. Like, you might not be coming here for me to tell you what to do, but if you hear my thoughts, that might help your decision, whether you agree with my suggestions or not. It's not about whether you agree. It's about whether you get an opportunity to dissect information, and then that makes your decisions. You can take that and use that for yourself. That's the goal. So no, I mean, don't worry about Travis Homer. The question is, no, I would just play Charbonnet. Just play Charbonnet. I wouldn't worry about, I mean, Kareem Hunt is an intriguing pickup, but he's lost a lot of luster with Pacheco's return. And then the other question is, like, who are you dropping? Who are you dropping to make this happen? Because I don't want to drop. I mean, I guess you could drop Xavier Worthy for Kareem Hunt. I guess you could do that. I would be okay with something like that, dropping Worthy for Hunt, like just to take a chance on a running back. Because you have good wide receiver options. But you already have Walker, who will, I guess we hope to have back next week. But you have his direct handcuff in Charbonnet, and I guess it's possible Brees is dealing with an issue where he misses more than 1 week. That was the report that we got earlier. So, yeah, if you want to pick up some more running back depth, I'm okay with picking up a guy like Kareem Hunt for somebody like Worthy. I'm okay with that. That works. That works for me. Appreciate it, Jose. Charbonnet or Ridley in full PPR? If this were Walker, the answer would easily be Walker. I guess Charbonnet, I know, has had when he's had opportunities, he's been solid. He's just so he's boring. Like, respectfully, he's boring. And I don't know that he's necessarily, he's just getting an opportunity. He might come through with it. He could give you RB2 numbers, but like Ridley has strong wide receiver 2 upside this week in a great matchup, revenge game against Jacksonville. I like that narrative. I feel good about Ridley. Charbonnet is an elite flex, but I think I would play Ridley. It's such a good matchup. I'll play Ridley. Pick one for the flex: Swift, Chubb, Pacheco, Ferguson, and my guy Sincere McCormick. This is tough. Chubb against Pittsburgh and has looked very predictably lackluster in his return, and I don't mean that as an insult to Nick Chubb. It's just he suffered such a devastating injury last year. It was hard to expect him to look like old school Nick Chubb this year. I feel like it's possible that we get that next year, and I hope we do, because that would be awesome. But he's not running great out there right now, although he is getting the ball. Pacheco got more work last week than I thought he would, to his credit. This is a tough matchup against the Chargers. And I don't think he's going to get unleashed in like a bell cow role until the playoffs. The Chiefs can keep the long view in sight. They've already locked up a playoff spot. They're going to win the division. Kareem Hunt's going to remain involved. Swift is banged up. Ferguson and Sincere McCormick are too, for these guys, they're too far off the radar compared to your other options. I think my answer here is Swift because he's the closest thing to an RB1 in a good matchup. Chubb is his team's RB1, but it's not a good matchup against Pittsburgh. I know he got 2 touchdowns against them last game. That was a short week on a Thursday night. Let's see how he does in Pittsburgh. I'll take Swift because if Swift is out, then you still have Pacheco to pivot to on Sunday Night Football. And the Bears are playing better on offense. San Francisco's defense is like, I just talked about all my concerns about San Francisco's offense. Their defense is looking rough as well. They are not what they were last year, and Nick Bosa is out yet again. Swift. And if Swift ultimately can't go, then play Pacheco on Sunday Night Football. That's what you do. And then between Adams and Cooper, it has to be Devontae Adams. We haven't gotten anything from Amari Cooper basically since he was traded to the Bills. And it's a great matchup too. He's so hard to trust right now. We haven't gotten a whole heck of a lot from Amari Cooper. It's a great matchup. It's just hard to trust him. I'll take Devontae Adams. I'll take Adams. It's hard to trust Aaron Rodgers too. He throws a bunch of inaccurate passes these days, but at least we know Adams is going to get 10 targets. So I don't even know if Cooper's going to get 5. Adams. Let's see. I'm going to pop on down to Bobby's question. Packers or Ravens defense rest of season? Depends on the playoff matchups. Packers next week get Seattle on the road, but they'll have 10 days rest for that game because they played on Thursday night. Week 16 against New Orleans at home is excellent. Week 17 on the road against Minnesota is not one that I would want to play the Packers in. But those first 2 playoff weeks are solid for Green Bay. At Seattle is not intimidating, and home against New Orleans that looks great on paper. So I'll take that. Baltimore has the much better matchup week 15 getting to play the New York Giants. It is a road game, but the Giants are terrible. The Ravens, I imagine, will handle their business. Week 16 at home against Pittsburgh and week 17 on the road against Houston are not the most enticing. So I will say, Bobby, Baltimore week 15, Green Bay week 16, and then somebody else for week 17 if we can make it to championship week. Green Bay, Baltimore week 15, Green Bay week 16, TBD week 17. We'll worry about championship week when we get to championship week. But Baltimore for next week for the first round of the playoffs against the Giants. For sure. Let's see. I appreciate the kind words about enjoying the start sit shows. I have offered a draft guide before. I did not put one together this past summer. I was out. For my real job, I was working the Olympics for like a month straight out of town. So I just didn't have the time this year to put draft guides together, but I have in the past. I could absolutely bring that back if that's something that folks are interested in. I've done it before. I'm happy to bring that back. It didn't materialize this past summer because I was out of town for so long for work. But I can absolutely look into putting it together. Yeah. And I have in the past. I've built draft plans together or in the past, and they would, of course, be, they would, of course, be for the members, or the members would get it early at the very least. Yep. But appreciate the interest. Let me know if I can answer any other questions about becoming a member. You have Bijan and Connor, and you have Pollard in your flex. No, not over. I mean, Allen and Charbonnet, I like their opportunities, but Pollard is his team's starter by default, and it's a great matchup against Jacksonville. I don't want to play spot start guys for dudes that are regularly in my starting lineup, regardless of who's healthy. So Pollard, it fits that definition, fits that description. He's in my starting lineup most weeks, if not all weeks. I'm not putting Braylon Allen or Zach Charbonnet in over Tony Pollard, especially not against Jacksonville. That matchup is way too juicy. And then Mahomes or Darnold for this week. I mean, Darnold. Mahomes continues to be, outside of like the occasional week, he continues to be a QB2 for fantasy purposes. He went crazy against Carolina week 12, and he followed it up with, he threw for 300 yards against the Raiders, but he only accounted for one touchdown. He's going up against the Chargers, division opponent that he's had plenty of success against. But, the Chargers have a solid defense. They've been a little bad against the run recently, but that doesn't mean anything for Mahomes. I mean, obviously he could scramble, and that would help. He's just been hard to trust this year. Darnold is at home against a Falcons defense that stinks. Like, they're not good. I would say Darnold. Mahomes has been only okay for fantasy this year. Darnold has been better for fantasy. Yeah, and he's been better. Darnold has just been better, like more consistently. He hasn't had Mahomes' ceiling games, but he has been significantly better in Mahomes' floor games, and Mahomes' floor games are way more frequent than his ceiling games. So, yeah, Darnold. If Bucky in the flex, no, I would play Bucky if Bucky plays, because they've been doing this, the Bucks, for the past couple of weeks, where Bucky's on the injury report. He's not practicing much. They're monitoring him throughout the week, and then he goes nuts in the game. I would play, if Bucky Irving is active, Bucky Irving is in my starting lineup. He looks awesome. He has taken over that backfield. And this has been the kind of the vibe, the strategy of the Bucks over the past couple of weeks, and they've kind of made it clear, like, we're gonna rest him and go easy on him throughout the week, and then that's to get him ready for the game. I think the questionable designation is a bit of smoke and mirrors when it comes to Bucky Irving. Like, yes, he's probably nursing some injuries, but it's not enough to hold him out of the game. I'm playing Bucky Irving as a top 15 flex option rest of season as long as he's active. He has entered that status, that stratosphere. He looks awesome. Bucky Irving looks great. I do not think we have a one-hit wonder here. I think Bucky is set up to do well for the rest of this season and moving forward. I'm playing Bucky if he's active. And Judy's been great. I want to find a way to get Judy into my lineup if I can, but not over Bucky Irving, not even in full PPR. Let's see. You need a high risk, high reward play. Well, that's Westbrook Akine. You could bench Garrett Wilson for Westbrook Akine, and that would allow you to play Braylon Allen. Man. It's full PPR. It's just Westbrook Akine is such. I know that he's been on such a tear. Like eight touchdowns in 7 games is insane for anybody. He is the high risk, high reward play. He catches 2 or 3. He gets 2 or 3 catches a game. That's all he's going to get. 2 or 3 catches a game, maybe 4, if you're lucky. You're just hoping one of them is for a 40 or 50-yard score. That's what he's been doing recently, catching bombs for touchdowns. If you need to be aggressive, like if you play Braylon Allen and Garrett Wilson and they both get 10 points, if that's not going to be enough, then I guess I would sit Garrett Wilson for Westbrook Akine. Like, I'll take Braylon Allen for the volume since Breece is out, and I imagine they want to give Braylon Allen an extended look and give him some opportunities tomorrow. Like in the 15 to 20 range of opportunities for Braylon Allen, which would be great. If 10 points from Braylon Allen and 10 points from Garrett Wilson isn't going to be good enough for you, like if that doesn't work and you need to swing for the 20-point play from one of these 2 players, then that's Westbrook. That's Westbrook Akine. I can't believe this is where we're at, but this is where we're at. Yeah, if you can't, if 20 points combined from Braylon Allen and Garrett Wilson isn't enough, then yeah, I'll take the moonshot and play Westbrook Akine over Garrett Wilson. Only if you think to yourself, I'll get 10 points from Allen and 10 points from Garrett Wilson, and that won't be good enough. If that's the case, then Westbrook Akine over Wilson. But if you think 20 points combined will be good enough, then I would play your Jets. Yep. All right. We're currently at the end of the chat. I can obviously hang around. I typically stick around a little bit longer for these streams, so I don't necessarily have to pop off just yet. I can see if there's any new injury or news updates since we started. Bucky, there it is. Bucky Irving expected to play week 14. Yeah, we are firing Bucky Irving up as a top 15 set and forget option. Running backs and wide receivers combined, regardless of scoring, Bucky Irving is top 15. Get him into your lineup. Against the Raiders, like, yeah. Vegas has been better against the run recently, but Bucky Irving's been incredible. We're getting him into the lineup. Let's see. No, that's it. Bucky expected to play. CD's off the injury report. We already knew that. Okay. We're caught up as far as latest news and notes. Again, I'll also be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. That will be anybody can access the stream, but members can access the chat if the members need any last minute thoughts ahead of kickoff. keep eyes and ears close to the ground for any updates that pertain to your players. Anybody that's still on the injury report, be prepared to pivot if need be. You guys know what to do at this point. It's week 14. This is not your first rodeo. And obviously best of luck with with any clinching scenarios. To make the playoffs tomorrow. And for anybody who has best balls. If you have any best ball contests, season-long best ball contests, those will be wrapping up after this week's slate of games and advancing folks to the knockout rounds. So, if anybody has any of those contests, I like to talk about those throughout the summer because those are available to do. For anybody who is trying to scratch the itch over the course of the summer with like when we're, it's like fantasy is like a month and a half or 2 months away. It's like so close, but so far. Best ball is a nice little supplement for that. And you can join big contests at that time. So see how those results shake out after this week. What are my thoughts on the running back 2 situation? No, I wouldn't worry about handcuffing Jacobs. I mean, you can grab Emmanuel Wilson if you would like. But I mean, I don't want him over Algier. I guess you could drop McLaughlin, Bobby, since you have. I mean, Javonte doesn't feel like a guy who needs to be handcuffed at this point. And it's, Audric Estime has been heavily involved. You could drop McLaughlin for Emmanuel Wilson if you want. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. Because Marshawn Lloyd is probably not going to play this year. He's been on injured reserve, and then he got activated, and then like an hour later, he ended up back on the PUP list, and he basically hasn't played this year. So if you want to grab Emmanuel Wilson and drop Jaleel McLaughlin, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Javonte doesn't need to be handcuffed any longer. You can drop McLaughlin. That's fine. Let me check on Ladd's status. I know he's been questioned. He's practiced all week, but in like a limited fashion. So that's a good sign. Needs to clear pregame warmups without any setbacks before being cleared to play in Sunday night's contest. It's annoying because he plays on Sunday Night Football, so we're not going to potentially know until closer to kickoff if he's going to play. But of course, we want to play him if he's available. I would probably play Tracy if it's half PPR. If it's full PPR, maybe go with maybe go with DJ Moore. Go with the wide receiver. So based on your scoring, I would say Tracy in half PPR is fine to go with. It's a great matchup against New Orleans. They're very beatable. And if it's full PPR, I would plan to play DJ Moore. That would also give you more time to wait on a positive update from McConkey because Moore plays in the late window. So half PPR, I would just go Tracy. Or if it's standard scoring, I would go Tracy. If it's full PPR, maybe put DJ Moore in there. And if Moore is out, then you can wait on McConkey. If McConkey's out, then or if Moore is out and we're not getting any positive updates on McConkey, then you could play Shakir. So if this is full PPR, I would plan to play DJ Moore, and then I would plan to play Shakir if we're not getting positive updates from Ladd McConkey ahead of Sunday night. And if it's half PPR or standard, I would just go Tracy. Kevin, I appreciate the super very much. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun to do this. I mean, I obviously don't. I don't always help everybody every single time. And I think everybody understands that batting 1,000 is essentially impossible. But just try to give as many thoughts as I possibly can to help people sort out their lineups. Whether the information helps or whether the results go your way or not, I like my process. I have my process, and I think it works out a good enough amount of times. So yeah, just trying to share my thoughts, like through my crazy calculated thought process with you guys. So appreciate that. And let me know if you need anything. Yeah, Javonte, I guess, is still RB1, but that's the problem. I don't even know. I don't. 1 week it might be Estime, 1 week it might be McLaughlin, 1 week it might be Javonte. To me, I'm like, I don't want to handcuff that backfield anymore. It's gotten to a point where I don't want anything to do with that backfield. So if I can sever ties with one of them, like a McLaughlin, and secure one of my stud RB1 handcuffs, and that's Jacobs. And Emmanuel Wilson, I think it's fair to say, is more valuable to you at this point than Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah. If the head coach or the team or whatever makes it difficult to figure out the backfield, then just move off of the backfield. I am fine dropping somebody like McLaughlin for Emmanuel Wilson. Yep. I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm good with that. Got you. Well, Kevin, I appreciate the time. Thank you for thinking enough to come hang out, whether you have questions or not. I appreciate that. Thoughts on a Levis Ridley stack? I mean, it should be fun. Ridley, I like quite a bit tomorrow. I mean, I think he's gonna do well. It's a great matchup on paper, and it's a revenge game against Jacksonville. I think he's gonna. I feel good about Ridley's chances tomorrow. I don't know who your other quarterback options are. Levis is a difficult guy to give a vote of confidence to as anything more than a middling QB2. But, he will throw the YOLO ball. He will, and if those hit, then he can absolutely give you, a top 15 performance. I don't know if we can trust him to do a whole lot more than that. Like Levis might give you maybe gives you a low end QB1 performance, but QB2 is more likely. I don't know who your other options are. Oh, it's DFS. I mean, if it's DFS, I'm okay with it because then he's not going to be. I don't know what Levis's price is, but he's going to be cheap compared to his peers. I mean, if he's cheaper than Matthew Stafford, Caleb Williams, I assume he's going to be cheaper than guys like Russ, maybe Jameis Winston. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins are cheaper than him. Like if he's like an excellent value, then yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that value quarterback and taking a swing. And it's it's an outstanding matchup. Obviously, Jacksonville is beatable every which way on defense, so he should be fine. Levis at home, he should be fine. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. At least you held on to Dowdle, Greg. It is what it is. It's we it happens every year, right? Like you make a pickup and you hold the pickup and it works out in the best way. And then there are other times where you drop a guy and he goes on to play great. It's like, what are you going to do? That's just the roll of the dice that comes with this incredible, excruciatingly painful game that we play called fantasy football. Yeah. Okay, so right. And when Dak was, we had the optimism on Rico when Dak was still healthy, because it was like, oh, Dak's good enough for them to score points, move the ball, all that stuff. Yeah. It's all right. It happens. At least Dowdle's worked out. So there you go. Next year we'll find the gem on the waiver wire and we'll make sure we hold. Yeah, Bobby. I would still play. I would pick up Wilson and drop McLaughlin. I mean, yeah. You're obviously hoping it doesn't come to that point, but I would rather handcuff Jacobs with somebody than worry about handcuffing Javonte. So I would pick one and I would pick one, probably Wilson, and just drop McLaughlin. But if it gets to that point, it honestly might not matter anyway. You're obviously planning to just rock with Jacobs moving forward. That's the plan right now. And until that changes, we'll continue to stick with that plan. I don't know if Jacoby Myers is playing tomorrow. He picked up the injury, I believe, on Thursday, but then he practiced yesterday. Yeah, he picked up the injury on Thursday, but he practiced on a limited basis on Friday. So has to clear pregame activities without any setbacks. If he plays, he's a strong wide receiver too, but I just don't know. It's difficult to predict or project on this type of stuff when the injury that the guy is on the injury report for is a midweek injury. You never like to hear about it, but it's also, we still don't know what the severity of it is. So hopefully you have somebody else in the late window that you could pivot to, or Sunday or Monday night that you could pivot to in the event that Myers can't play. It's good news that he returned on Friday to practice. But yeah, the fact that it was a midweek injury for Myers makes his situation currently unpredictable. But if he's active, we want to play him because he's been awesome since Davante Adams was traded. You can take a shot on MVS. I mean, it's very much like Westbrook Akine. He may only catch 2 or 3 balls, but he will potentially take one to the house for a touchdown. He's done it 3 straight weeks. 3 straight games, I should say, because the Saints the bye week was in this past 4-game stretch. I mean, it's a beautiful matchup against the Giants. What's the weather going to be like there tomorrow? East Rutherford weather. Oh, it's going to be nice, or by northeast winter temperature standards. It's going to be 50 degrees. 11 mile per hour winds is a little concerning, but not that bad. No rain. Okay. Yeah, you could take a shot on MVS. Again, you're hoping for 2 or 3 catches and that one gets him into the end zone. But you could just be careful taking too many of these shot plays. But obviously I understand the strategy. We're looking for bang for the buck here. So yeah, I mean, you can. It's a great matchup. The weather doesn't look to be too bad. What's going on, Nino? Good to see you. Brian Thomas over Myers? No, I can't play Brian Thomas, not with Mac Jones in there. I can't. I can't. I'm gonna hold down on Jacoby Myers and hope he plays. And if Myers doesn't play, we'll find somebody else. we'll find somebody else in the late window to to take a shot on. Like, I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is probably still or is probably not available, but like who's yeah, like I guess no, I guess we definitely would need Myers to play. Let's keep tabs on this one. Let's see if tomorrow we get any positive updates about Jakobi Meyers before the 1 p.m. East kickoffs. I would prefer to play Myers. I would prefer to wait and play Myers because Brian Thomas is awesome, but I don't get excited about Brian Thomas when it's Mac Jones throwing him the football. Why do I hate Garrido? I knew this was coming. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like Garrido and he's looked good in his opportunities. I just now he's the lead guy and I expect him to do fine. I just worry about the state of the 49ers offense. That's all. I like Garrido. I just worry about I worry about the state of the 49ers offense. I'm not sure what Brock Purdy's injury status truly is. The 49ers have been very coy, to put it nicely, about injury designations this year. So I think they may struggle to move the football, and they don't have Trent Williams. They don't have they don't have Trent Williams. I'm not sure if their starting left guard is back. I can check that, but he missed last week's game. Obviously, he gets an opportunity with both McCaffrey and Mason out, but Aaron Banks, yeah, that's right, is also out. So again, they're down multiple starters on the offensive line again. Plus, who knows how healthy Brock Purdy is. I like Garrido. He has looked good when he got his chances earlier in the season when the 49ers were closer to full strength on offense. Now he's the dude. The defense can plan to key on him. How is he going to perform at that, at that level with all of these dudes that the 49ers had coming into the season now banged up? And in the case with Trent Williams and Banks, they're not playing. So, I like Garrido more than, I don't know, like Chuba Hubbard, Isaiah Pacheco, Jalen Warren, Travis Etienne, Rachaad White, any Raiders running back, and I like Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. I'll take Garrido over all of those guys. Anybody else is kind of difficult. Kind of difficult to trust. Yeah. But I knew it was coming. And it's okay. I knew it was coming. It's all right. If you believe in him, play him. If you believe in a player and I don't believe in a player and what I tell you doesn't change your mind, that's okay. Play your guys. Play the guy that you believe in. Smith or McBride? I mean, straight up McBride. For DFS, if you're looking for value, then I guess Jonnu. I mean, both are awesome. They're both top 5 options at tight end this week. It's Bowers, McBride, Kelsey, Kittle, maybe Njoku, and Jonnu Smith. That is the group of these are the tight end ones that I want to play. McBride straight up I would prefer, but for value, if you're looking for value, then that would be Jonnu, for DFS. And the Addison Jefferson stack is perfectly fine. They're at home. It's a great matchup against Atlanta. The problem with Jefferson is, I mean, maybe you're getting him at a bit of a discount in DFS because he's been kind of quiet the past couple of weeks, right? At least by his standards, anyway. He had like a 1-catch game a couple weeks ago, I think, a 1 or 2-catch game. Last week he had 7 for 99. So okay, that's back to Jefferson being Jefferson. But 2 for 27 week 12 was the down weeks. Yeah, he's not going to be any less expensive than he normally is. Yeah, I mean, it's a great spot. It's a great matchup against Atlanta. So that's fine. And again, Addison should be the beneficiary of that, or of like, additional coverage that Jefferson surely will get. He's caught touchdowns. Addison has 3 of his past 5 games. 2 of those games were on the road, but one against Indy was at home. Gets a very beatable matchup against the Falcons. I mean, he's been on the field 90% of the snaps the past couple of weeks. So, yeah. You can stack that up. Yeah. The Bears gave him problems. I don't think the Falcons will be able to give him problems. So you can rock with Addison and Jefferson. More Thielen, Coleman over Brian Thomas. Yeah, I mean, maybe not. Actually, I might like Elijah Moore more than him. I mean, and then Thielen's in a brutal matchup against the Eagles. I know that it's been, the concern is the Eagles, the boundary corners are the problem for opposing wide receivers. Slot receivers do a little bit better. Adam Thielen's going to line up in the slot a lot. So that makes things a little better for him, but I don't know. I can see a scenario where the Eagles defense gives Carolina's offense a lot of problems. So maybe not Thielen. Elijah Moore is not a bad option over Brian Thomas. The problem is Elijah Moore plays, I think, in the early window, and Myers plays in the late window. So we're not going to know in all likelihood Myers' status before Elijah Moore plays. So if you need a pivot, then I guess the answer, unfortunately, by default, would be Coleman because he plays in the same time window as Myers does. But I would prefer Moore in a vacuum over all of those options. Other than Myers, I prefer Moore to each of these other guys, including Brian Thomas. Myers plays in the early window. Oh, I'm sorry. Why did I think that game was in Vegas? It's in Tampa, so it's a 1:00 game. Oh, holy hell! All right, my apologies. Okay, well then that makes it much easier. All right, if Myers plays, play Myers. If who's the other guy that you have? Oh, you have Brian Thomas. I would play Elijah Moore if Myers can't play because Jameis Winston has elevated everybody's fantasy relevance in Cleveland. And with Tillman out another game, I have no problem going back to the well with Elijah Moore to get 10 points. Yeah. Myers if he plays, Elijah Moore if Myers doesn't play. Apologies. I thought that game was in Vegas for some reason, and therefore it would be a later game. So that being the fact that it's a 1:00 game makes it much better because you'll have all options available to you to replace Myers if he can't go. Myers if he can play, Moore if he can't. Rest of season: Tillman, Jennings, Coleman, Elijah Moore. Well, Tillman, if he's able to come back healthy, would be 1, but we don't know. He's now missing 2 straight games with a concussion. So he is TBD on this list. Right now, I would say Elijah Moore first, Jennings second, Coleman third. Jennings would be first if I knew that the 49ers were going to get healthy and make a strong push for the playoffs. but we don't know if that's going to happen or not. As long as Tillman is out, I would put Elijah Moore number one of this group again, because Jameis has unlocked the potential for this Browns passing offense. He pushes the ball down the field, and he's not afraid to make mistakes, which, he definitely makes mistakes. But he's not afraid to make them, which benefits his wide receivers because he's willing to throw the ball down the field. So Tillman one if he's healthy, then Jennings, then Moore, then Coleman. But if Tillman remains out, then I would put Moore first, and then Jennings, and then Coleman. Coleman's last, regardless. He's shown flashes, but he's been too inconsistent for fantasy purposes. And we're playing Ridley definitively over. I like Elijah Moore, but we're playing Ridley definitively over Elijah Moore this week. He's the better player. It's a revenge game. Give me Calvin Ridley. You have Connor, Wilson, Jennings, Judy. This is standard scoring. Connor, go with the bell cow running back in standard scoring. Yeah, he gets the ball. He's been looking good. I would go Connor, especially in standard. That just boosts the value of the running back and decreases the value of the wide receiver naturally. Connor gets bell cow work. I'll take Connor. Good options, but I'll take Connor of this group, given the standard scoring. Allen, Charbonnet, Dowdle, Connor. The last two. Give me Connor. Give me Dowdle. Allen and Charbonnet are in good spot. Like Braylon Allen, Zach Charbonnet, Isaac Guerrero all have great opportunities ahead of them tomorrow. But I don't think I can bring myself to play them over guys who are mainstays, regular stalwarts in your starting lineup, who are the guys that you typically lean on. Connor and Dowdle are not guys that I would rank below any of the other guys like Braylon Allen or Zach Charbonnet. Are they now on the RB2 roadmap? Yes. Or radar? Yes. Allen and Charbonnet are on the RB2 radar. Connor's on the RB1 radar, and Dowdle's on the high-end RB2 radar for me, whereas Allen and Charbonnet are more on like the low. They're RB2 radar, but Dowdle I would rank ahead of them. I would rank ahead of them both. Because he's naturally the Cowboys starter, and they've been treating him like it the past few weeks. He's on the field for the vast majority of the snaps, and he's getting the vast majority of the running back opportunities. Give me Connor, give me Dowdle. Yeah. Do I trust the Dolphins, or thoughts on taking the Dolphins defense? I would say they're a top 10 option this week against the Jets. The Pittsburgh Steelers are probably going to cost more money. The Eagles are going to cost more money. The Vikings are going to cost more money. I would think maybe the 49ers would cost more money. Maybe the Titans cost more money. Maybe the Chiefs cost a little bit more money. Maybe not against the Chargers. Maybe the Bucks cost more money. Do the Saints cost more money? I would hate that play, by the way. I do not trust the New Orleans Saints just because they're playing the Giants. I mean, if the Dolphins are cheaper than like the Bucks and the Titans and the 49ers, I think that's a good value. The Jets are a good offense to target. That's right here. Yeah, the Jets are a good offense to target. I would say the Dolphins are a top 10 option on defense this week. If they're priced lower than, if they are priced below the top 10 in, like, if you could rank the defenses by DFS pricing, if the Dolphins are outside the top 10, then I think they're a solid pick. I think they're a solid pick. PPR, Judy, Ridley, Connor. Is this pick one? I mean, I know it's full PPR, but I think I trust. I mean, I would probably go Connor. I think I would rank. I think I would rank them Connor, Judy, Ridley. They're all really good options. I like Ridley a lot in a revenge game against Jacksonville, his old team from last year. I like Judy because, again, Jameis Winston has elevated that entire Browns offense, and Judy is operating like a wide receiver one right now. Connor, I mean, he's had a couple of down weeks recently. He had 80 scrimmage yards last week, but he didn't score. The week prior, he had a pretty rough game where he failed to clear 50 scrimmage yards and got absolutely nothing on the ground rushing. But prior to that, I mean, 100 scrimmage yards and a touchdown week 10, over 20 opportunities, 120 scrimmage yards week 9. $70 scrimmage yards and a touchdown week 8, 150 scrimmage yards week 7. Like he's been really good this year. It's a revenge game for Arizona against Seattle. They just lost to them 2 weeks ago. Now they have them at home. I would say Connor 1, Judy 2, Ridley 3. Connor, safe RB2 play with upside. Judy, safe wide receiver 1 play, but I think I trust the running back a little bit more. Top 15, high-end wide receiver 2. He's not a slam dunk wide receiver 1, but he's on that wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 border, which is positive. And then Ridley, I like Ridley's chances tomorrow, but I think I got to give the nod to Connor. Yeah, I got to give the nod to Connor. Do I trust Njoku? Yeah, I mean, he's getting, again, Jameis is like the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, he's a strong tight end 1 play, Njoku is. It's a tough spot against Pittsburgh. He only had 1 catch for 9 yards against them last time they played 2 weeks ago. He had his best game of the season last week. Njoku did, as far as fantasy output, because he had 2 touchdowns. He has at least 5. Njoku has at least 5 targets in his last 7 games. He has at least 7 targets in 6 of those 7 games. 5 or more catches in 6 of those 7 games. Of course, the down week came against Pittsburgh, who he's playing this week. What's this matchup like? I mean, Pittsburgh is stingy against most things. They're middle of the pack against opposing tight ends, actually. I trust Njoku if he's cheaper than he normally is. I don't know if you have that information available, like week over week, what Njoku's typical price is, or if this is just for season long in general. I mean, for season long, you probably just have to play Njoku. If it's DFS, if he's cheaper than he usually is, because maybe he's a little cheaper because of the matchup, because of the Steelers, and he didn't do well against them a couple weeks ago, but they are a beatable matchup by the numbers. And Njoku has received a ton of volume since Jameis took over. So if he's cheaper than usual, then yeah, I would say he's fine to to roll with, and that maybe gives you a little extra cash to buy another stud or a guy that you feel really good about. Braylon Allen or Metcalf in full PPR? I think I go Metcalf here. If it was half PPR, I would probably say Braylon Allen. And I am very intrigued by what he does with the backfield, presumably to himself tomorrow. But Metcalf is a guy that you draft him to be a strong wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside. It's a potential play. This might be a do or die scenario for you. It could be, playoff clinching or win or go home type of situation. In that scenario, I want to play my best players. And respectfully to Braylon Allen, DK Metcalf is a better football player right now than Braylon Allen. So especially in full PPR scoring, I think Metcalf is my answer. And is Kamara a must play? In season long, of course. In DFS, yeah, I mean, he's expensive, but he's probably the number, he's no worse than 3 as if you would do flex rankings this week. Against the Giants, the workload and volume that he gets, no Taysom Hill, so nobody to vulture touchdowns in the backfield from Kamara. Yeah, I mean, I would say he's, whatever the price is or whatever the cost is, he's probably one of those dudes where, yeah, it's probably worth it to just get him into your lineup. Yeah. I would say so. I'm fine with going all in on Kamara. I'm good with it. All right, let me see if there are any other updates, any other injury updates. Again, we'll start rolling in injury updates. We'll start to roll in around 11:30 in the morning tomorrow, East Coast time. No recent updates. Okay, as far as injuries, so that might be done for the evening. Might be the next time we get any new information would probably be tomorrow. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, I will go live tomorrow. The stream will be available to everybody. The chat will be available to members, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll give a general overview as needed, and members will have access to the chat if any members need any last minute. I believe you can send supers as well in those chats if you are feeling so inclined, and that would allow you to also ask a question, I think. If you're interested and need any last minute thoughts tomorrow. The best defense to take in DFS, I mean, again, if you're looking, when I do play DFS, I try not to spend a lot of money on defense. I just hope I find somebody that I feel good about to win the game, and they don't cost me a lot of dollars that I can allocate to other high-end options at other positions. So I think the Dolphins are a smart idea. I think the Tennessee Titans are probably a decent value tomorrow. I'm trying to think who else. Those are probably the values that I would target. Whoever's cheapest between Tennessee and Miami, because I think Tennessee will beat Jacksonville. I think Miami will beat the New York Jets, and I like finding defenses that I think are going to win the game. I like finding defenses. This is for season long and DFS. The strategy is similar. What team do I think is going to win the football game? Therefore, who's playing with a lead? Therefore, which defenses do I think are going to be in situations where they can be opportunistic and take advantage of an offense that is playing from behind, and therefore they're maybe more prone to making mistakes. And that allows for opportunities to get sacks and force turnovers. So I think Miami for DFS is probably solid tomorrow, and I would say Tennessee is probably solid for DFS tomorrow. And like whichever one is cheaper. Whichever one is cheaper. All right, we are at the end of the chat. I will hang out around for a couple more minutes if anybody needs anything else. But if nothing else, if everybody's good, I may shut down here in the next couple minutes or so. Again, one more time, I will be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, for any last minute thoughts. The chat will, or the room, the stream will be available to everybody, but the chat will only be available to members, and I believe supers or gifts if you are feeling so inclined to send and would like some thoughts before kickoff. And then of course we have we have fantasy playoffs next week, so I'll have my normal allotment of streams next week. Tuesday will be waiver wire, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we'll do a pre TNF hang, any start sit questions that pertain to Thursday night football, and then of course start sit ahead of the playoffs next week. I have to start looking at what the Saturday schedule is from here on out. And plan accordingly for live streams, because soon there will be Saturday games going on. So we'll need to sort out start sit questions sooner than usual. The Vikings waived. They waived John Parker Romo. Oh man. Okay, so Reichard is eligible to return. Parker Romo was doing pretty well for them. I mean, you can pick up Reichard. I don't know if I would play him in his first game back, but I guess if they're activating him, I guess that means he's good to go. If you had Parker Romo, then, who are the other kickers that are potentially out there and available? I guess I would pick up Reichard, assuming guys like Chris Boswell, Chase McLaughlin, Jason Sanders, Brandon Aubrey, Tyler Bass, Jake Elliott. If those guys are all scooped up, and maybe even Kansas City's guy, Matthew Wright, if those guys are all scooped up, then yeah, I would just pick up Reichard. That's fine. He's attached to a good offense. The Vikings should have no issues scoring tomorrow. Yeah, that's fine. I guess if they waived Parker Romo, then that means Reichard's ready to come back, and so he shouldn't have any limitations kicking. And I would think he's going to have an ample amount of opportunities tomorrow attached to the Vikings offense playing a very beatable Falcons defense. So yeah, Reichard is fine. Bobby, appreciate you coming in. Enjoy the rest of your evening and best of luck tomorrow. We are at the end of the chat, so I do think I'm going to shut this down here shortly. Again, best of luck to everybody tomorrow. Whatever your playoff situation is, hopefully you're able to clinch a spot if you're still on the outside looking in. And I guess with that, hopefully I've done more help than harm to your team this year when it comes to start sit advice. I will continue to be live and active for the fantasy playoffs for those who make it. Let's get those championships. And of course, first things first, if we need to still clinch a playoff berth tomorrow, let's get that done. So obviously, best of luck to everybody clinching playoff spots tomorrow. Elijah Moore, Chuba Hubbard, Keenan Allen. I hate Chuba tomorrow against the Eagles. I do not like that spot for him at all. Oh, Nick Chubb. Okay, my bad. I'll be honest, I don't like Chubb against Pittsburgh. I know he did well a couple weeks ago against him, but Chubb hasn't looked great on a per touch basis. And on the road in Pittsburgh, revenge game for the Steelers, I'm not feeling great about Chubb. So it's between Moore and Allen. I guess I would say Keenan Allen because DJ Moore's banged up. I'm not expecting 2 touchdowns again, but San Francisco's defense is not intimidating the way they were last year. And the Bears offense is playing better. They're playing better over the past couple of weeks. Caleb has looked a lot better the past couple of weeks. I think that's good news. That's a good sign for Keenan Allen. Jameis Winston has looked good as well when he's not throwing pick sixes. He's driving the ball downfield. He's giving his receivers opportunities to make plays, like chunk plays, not just little dink and dunk plays. So that certainly helps Elijah Moore. I think I'll give the slight nod to Keenan Allen. Like, he's getting a lot of targets the past few weeks. I'll say Allen. I think both are viable, but I would say, like, I like Allen. Elijah Moore is maybe more on the flex radar. I think Allen, with DJ Moore banged up, is a little bit more like, yeah, he's on the strong wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 upside radar. I'll say Allen of these 3 options. If it's standard scoring, then Chubb maybe has a little bit more of an argument just because of the boost of running backs. But I don't love that spot for him tomorrow against Pittsburgh. I'll take Keenan Allen. Okay. One more time, everybody. Thank you all for coming in and hanging out tonight. Special shout out to the members that I saw. I saw Fortune. I saw Crumply Heads. I saw Brooke. I saw Greg. I saw Nino. Just making. Did I see anybody else? Apologies if I'm missing anybody. I don't think so. I think that was all of the members. And then shout out to the supers, very generous. T-Man, Jose, Don, thank you guys. Kevin, appreciate everybody for sending the supers. Thank you so much. The support of the channel is much appreciated. Again, thank you to everybody for coming in and spending a little bit of time tonight. Hopefully we get those wins. Hopefully it has been a good regular season for you, a good fantasy season for you. It's been a long season. Obviously, we always want to win games. It doesn't always go our way. So hopefully I've got more wins than losses in this chat. And hopefully we've got a lot of folks headed to the playoffs after this week. So again, I will have my normal slate of live streams for the first week of the playoffs. For those who make it, make sure we do the best that we can to get you on to the next round after that. But first things first, let's clinch those berths tomorrow, and good health and good fortune to all the players on your teams. Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday night. Again, I will be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. Members only chat. Stream is available for everybody to view. I'll give some overarching thoughts overall right before kickoff. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.